Hey everyone, so this is actually a complimentary video to another one I did recently called Hacks for Saving Money in College. This one is going to be hacks for making money in college. So I recently finished college debt-free without any kind of financial help from my parents. So I wanted to share some of my tips on how I managed to earn money in college. And yes, I even managed to buy my own car completely with cash while I was still in college as well. All the while, I still managed to make time for a social life, make Dean's List every semester while studying chemical engineering with 2 minors, and participated in a host of other clubs. So I don't want you to think just because you have to work in college, that means you have to sacrifice your grades, your social life, or having to stay an additional year in college. That's definitely not the case. You can get it done. So hopefully you'll find some use in the tips I'm sharing with you in this video. So first off, some general tips. It's always a good idea to be aware of what's happening around your campus, particularly if you go to a really big university like I did. So I just recommend taking advantage of your social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever. I use Facebook primarily just because they also have really great for sale groups as well. So you just make sure you join your social media that's linked to your school. Just like it or follow the page or whatever, and then you'll be all set. And I'll be discussing further on how to take advantage of that. So first, let's talk about a potentially big dollar amount that requires very little effort and you don't have to pay taxes on it for the most part, and that is scholarships. So if you're still in high school, it's not too late to start thinking about applying to scholarships. And you can ask your career center about any contests or grants that you may qualify for. Personally, I was able to get a scholarship from my university just because I had good grades and had a lot of extracurricular activities, but I also applied for some small scholarship money based on my ethnic group as well. So there's definitely a lot of different nuanced scholarships, and you just need to know where to look for them. And because I had received so many scholarships before I even got into the university, that it ultimately kind of pushed me towards that university I ended up going to. Now, if you're already in college, there's definitely still plenty of scholarships to be had. I also know that my school had just kind of automatically gave me a little bit of money because, again, I had pretty good grades in university for my major. So just doing well in school and participating and being an active part of your community, you'll definitely find ways to get scholarships that way. And again, you can check out your college's career center to find out more information. Now, sometimes it's really competitive to get scholarships. A sure way to make money, of course, is to just work. And there are plenty of part-time jobs that you can do in college. I personally did a federal work study program, so that is usually applicable if you're coming from kind of a lower income family. So this is kind of the government's way of paying you. And the difference between a federal work study job and a regular campus job is that you're technically a little bit more favorable to get the job as opposed to just a regular part-time job with a lot more competition. But if you don't qualify for a federal work study job, of course, the next option I would recommend is to look for a part-time job on campus. And what's great about campus jobs is that you can oftentimes multitask, so you can do your homework in addition to your job duties. And for the most part, your supervisor won't mind, and they'll be much more understanding anyway because most of the people they hire are going to be students. They are also much more flexible about hours around exam time, for example, so that you don't have to worry about working the same amount of hours you usually would if you really need more time to study. So campus jobs is really a great way to earn some money without having to reshuffle around your entire school schedule. A subcategory of campus jobs is being a TA. So if you did really well in a class, you can consider being a teacher's assistant to that professor, and you can definitely earn a good amount of money for doing that. But your mileage would definitely vary with that. I haven't been a TA personally, but I definitely had friends who did. And it really depends on what kind of class you TA for. I know some professors rely heavily on the TAs for pretty much everything, and it ends up taking up a lot of your time more than it's worth. And then there's classes that you just need to grade a couple papers, show up for office hours, and that's it. So I would definitely look into how much time commitment if you do choose to go the TA route. And finally, you can search for part-time jobs off campus. Now, the reason why you might consider this is because usually you get higher pay. And I personally actually did both a federal work study job on campus as well as a part-time job off campus on the weekends. I did a little tutoring at $40 an hour on the weekends, which is definitely really great. I have to say that if you do tutor and if you do something off campus, you have to also factor in transportation time, which if you think about it, how much time you get per hour, but then you factor in how much time you actually have to take to get there, may not be completely worth it. So some other things you have to think about when you're chasing after part-time jobs off campus. And then there's ways that you can earn money when you're not directly working on it all the time, and this is called passive income. So things like having a website or blogging or doing YouTube, which is something I obviously did. Just so that I can, when I have time, I would upload a video and people watch it and I earn a little bit of money from the ad revenue and just so on and so forth. It's just something you build up over time, and then you don't have to worry about you have to put in X amount of hours to get X amount of dollars. So of course this is going to be your mileage is going to vary, and you definitely don't want to be spending too much time on this if it's really not your passion. Not everybody likes to do videos, not everybody can maintain a website, so just pick something that you really enjoy doing in your free time, and maybe you can actually accumulate some money over time without you constantly have to keep tabs on. And then another way as a college student is to sell your old stuff. So for example, textbooks. If you bought some textbooks, whether it be new or used, I can guarantee you that the next underclassman is going to need the same textbook you did for that particular class. So you can sell it. I think the best way to do it is over Facebook's buy and selling pages like I mentioned earlier. You can also even sell it on Amazon. I'll put the link below for more information on that. If you have some clothes that you don't really kind of out of style now that you're older now, you don't really wear it anymore, I would also again sell it either on the Facebook page, or you can even sell it on eBay, things like that. I've also managed to sell some of my school branded freebies that I've gotten, like special t-shirts that I just went to events for, and hey, people want it, so I was able to sell those things. Last but certainly not least, the biggest income I got in college besides my scholarships would have been internships, paid internships. So I would definitely recommend that you start looking for these things early on, especially I started in my freshman year. Just build relationships, first of all, with your professors. Most likely they will have connections, whether to a research lab or to some other company they previously worked for. So for my first summer in college, after my freshman year, I just worked unpaid for my professors just to gain some experience, something I can put on my resume and also get recommendations for. To apply for my next summer's internship was actually a stipend internship, and I was able to go to another state, all expenses paid, housing, the flight, and it was a great experience to be able to work somewhere that's not local and still get paid for that. And particularly if you're in the STEM field or you find an internship in the STEM field, don't necessarily have to be a major in that. You can make some really big bucks. I've heard of people getting internships getting paid at $40 an hour, and I personally was able to get paid at about, I think it was $22 an hour my second internship, and they often also pay for housing and transportation and all that. So it's definitely a really great way to help pay off your tuition or just to make money and save money for the future. So to sum things up, it's definitely never too early to start thinking about how you can pay for college. I definitely started putting away money in my savings account since elementary school, and there's a lot of ways to earn money without having to work night shifts like a lot of people think you have to do in college, which is definitely not the case. So definitely a lot of ways that you can balance your work life with your education, and hopefully these tips that I showed you in this video will help you do that. Hopefully you found this video helpful, and if you have additional tips that you want to help everybody out, make sure you leave them in the comment section down below. Subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.